But if there's one difference between the two of us, it's that I find my work enjoyable. It gives me purpose. When I dirty my hands, it's in the service of order. It goes back to a necessary evil to maintain peace in this country. In my eyes, peace does require violence. It only works when killers are below the surface, keeping it afloat.
Sawa-sensei too? Is that the peace you want?
Yoko Sawa? She did have to die. She almost connected the Mikoshiba case to Koana. She was getting very close to it. She may even have figured out Reiko Kusamoto was involved. The fewer people who know a secret, the better kept the secret stays. I don't remember even hesitating on that call. And I think that means... well, you guys won't like hearing this, but it was justified.
You asshole!
Whoa, whoa. Don't fly off the handle now. I haven't finished what I had to say.
What the fuck?
Did I mention how much of a pain in the ass Kuwana made this? He negotiated for your lives, using Kawai's body as leverage over us.
What?
So relax, would you? I don't plan on killing you here.
Then why even show your sorry face?
The trial for Ehara-san is coming up, right? You know, the groping thing. I've come here with a request that I hope you'll consider.
This from you?
Reiko Kusamoto's name is not to come up during the Ehara trial. That shouldn't be so hard, right? Shirosaki-sensei would have to agree to this too.
And if we were to refuse?
Nothing. It's Kusamoto-san's request. She is asking nice.
What?
A mother doesn't want her child branded a murderer's son. Could you give her that much? And that's all. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
You think so, huh? Why put off what we can settle now? Soma! Akane!
Akane-chan! Why am I...
A paint gun? You okay?
That son of a...
Well, hell, that's gotta hurt. But a bruise sure beats the alternative, right?
Yeah, okay.
I'd say he got us good with that one.
Yeah. But that was a terrible call. If Soma hadn't been packing a paint gun, that would have been really bad. You two are more important than him. I should have prioritized protecting you.
Yagami-san.
You've been brave. I'm sure this was really scary for you. We'll need to do things one step at a time, Kaito-san. We can't tackle it all at once. First thing, Ehara's groping appeal needs to become a murder trial that outs Kawana and his students. That way, if public security is our real enemy here, we'll have the prosecution and the courts on our side. That'll be on me. I'll reveal a truth no one can deny.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much your specialty. Send that asshole to jail for good.
You've got this, Yagami-san.
Whoa, this is crazy. Why is he so hot? Am I right?
Huh. Just a minute ago, she got shot. And now look at her.
Teenagers. Hello? Yeah, I'm getting ready now, Sari-san. Oversleep? I would never... Okay. Yeah. Alright, see you at the courthouse. Held on violation of Shinjuku Station's anti-nuisance ordinance, the defendant of this appeal is active duty officer Akihiro Ihara. He was previously convicted and sentenced to 6 months. However, the defense wholly rejects the sexual battery charge and asserts his innocence.
The prosecution points to 2 pieces of evidence to prove the defendant guilty. One is the security camera footage from Ikebukuro to Shinjuku Station. The other is fiber traces from the victim's undergarments on the defendant's hand. The defense maintains this was not sufficient evidence to issue a guilty verdict. We have prepared counter-arguments to each piece of the prosecution's evidence.
How does the prosecution respond?
We maintain the original sentence was perfectly adequate. That is all.
Then first, let's examine the security footage from Ikebukuro and Shinjuku Station submitted at the first trial. This is footage of Ikebukuro Station on October 7th at 7:43 a.m. The individual wearing sunglasses and a mask is believed to be the defendant. This person remains in the area for over an hour, watching as countless trains make their stops. At 9:06 a.m., he locates the victim of this case, then he boards the train and pursues her. This footage of the station platform is from when the suspect and victim board the train car.
We already saw this during the first trial. Let's not be redundant.
Of course not. The victim claimed the defendant moved in a suspicious manner once the train left Ikebukuro Station, ultimately placing his hand under her skirt. After they arrived at Shinjuku Station 6 minutes later, the victim gathered her courage and grabbed his hand. However, there's a possibility the offender seen here is not the defendant himself, but a different person entirely, a stand-in. The goal was to disguise this event as an alibi for the murder which occurred in Yokohama that same morning. In other words, this instance of sexual battery was a conspiratorial fabrication. The original verdict was issued without taking this into consideration, resulting in an inadequate trial.
This is merely speculation. The defense has no proof to support these claims.
Precisely the issue.
Yes, there is indeed no definitive proof that confirms the existence of a stand-in. However, the notion itself cannot be disproved, even with all of the prosecution's evidence.
Would you care to elaborate, please?
The assailant fled the train and was caught shortly after on the Shinjuku Station platform. Many nearby passengers filmed the scene, which then circulated throughout Japan. The impact may have been greater since the defendant was an active duty officer. There's no mistake that the man apprehended at the platform was the defendant. Upon arrival, station police arrested him and immediately performed a trace element inspection. With that said, there's a very real possibility the offender who ran off the train was an entirely different person, and we have the evidence to prove that. If you'll kindly look at this.
What is this? Displayed on the large monitor, please. Is that a diagram of Shinjuku Station?
That's correct, Your Honor. First, the victim and the offender ran onto the platform as as soon as the train doors open. The train car they boarded is here on this map. We've marked the offender's route with an arrow. The lighter areas on the overhead view are within the security camera's line of sight. More people pass through Shinjuku than anywhere on Earth in a single day. It's packed with security cameras. However, this arrow with the dotted line reveals the existence of a small blind spot. That's where the defendant and stand-in swapped places.
I see. So you claim this was their opportunity?
Yes. As such, I'd like to question the defendant once more over this evidence. Defendant, when you were issued the verdict in your first trial, you said the following to the judge. In a warehouse about 3 days ago, a body turned up in Yokohama. If that wasn't enough, you correctly identified the body as Hiro Mikoshiba, despite the fact the police had yet to do so. How did you manage to pull off such a feat?
It came to me in a dream. Strange, I know.
Mikoshiba-san was your son Toshiro-kun's classmate, was he not?
That's right.
Toshiro Ihara was found dead in his apartment 4 years ago. He took his own life. Afterward, the defendant sued the school over Toshiro-kun's suicide.
Yes?
Ihara-san, can you tell us why you sued the school?
There were rumors my son had been bullied. Unfortunately, the court wasn't able to substantiate that claim.
And these rumors were discovered on the internet?
They were.
Of the bullies mentioned, Mikoshiba-san's name was among them. Were you aware of this?
I was.
Would you say you harbored murderous intent against Mikoshiba-san?
Objection. The defense's question is irrelevant. This case is to examine whether or not sexual battery took place. Also, the Kanagawa police are actively investigating Hiro Mikoshiba's murder. The courtroom is no place for baseless speculation.
How does the defense respond?
The timing of the battery incident makes this case an alibi for Mikoshiba-san's murder. We believe there's a very relevant connection.
Very well. The prosecution's objection is overruled.
Then please keep it brief.
Just as soon as the defendant answers the question. Did you harbor murderous intent for Hiro Mikoshiba?
Of course I did.
In other words, Your Honor, it goes like this. On the day Toshiro-kun's bully, Mikoshiba-san, was killed, the defendant set out to synchronize the murder with sexual battery. It became his alibi for the murder, and the prosecution and the court all but approved it. A 6-month sentence for sexual battery and getting away with murder. That's all the motivation the defendant needed to fabricate this elaborate scheme. His stand-in groped his accomplice, and then they swapped places before getting caught. It's all entirely possible.
Then the defense should present some evidence to prove it.
Wrong. That's not how this works, is it? The prosecution bears the burden of proof in criminal cases. If we go through all the evidence and discover the possibility no groping took place, then it's on the prosecution to refute that.
Fine. Have it your way. The defense's argument about the security camera's blind spot is flimsy at best. While the defendant was running, his female victim was chasing after him. Surely the victim would have seen if he had switched places with a stand-in. Yet the victim provided no such testimony.
The victim, Yui Mamiya, was an accomplice in the scheme.
Objection! This is an insult to the victim. Such claims harm the integrity of all women.